Hey, it's me. Um, what do you think of my office? I love this place. So I've shown you guys this tree before, I believe, but yeah, there it is again. Um, it's the tree that fell over the creek, and it's kind of where I go sit and think, and or lay and think. Um, Fun fact: so, if you ever are trying to embody the archetype of the hangsman, but you obviously don't want to hang yourself because that's not what it's about. But if you ever want to like do the thing, the being suspended from a tree to find wisdom, etc., you can lay on a fallen tree. It works just the same. Uh, Sorry, nettle. I am totally sitting in nettle. Um, yeah. So Uh, sometimes I'll lay on the tree just to kind of do that, the sort of slow suspension, the distillation of wisdom, as it were. Um, you get some interesting stuff there. It's really cool. Anyway, welcome to what is this? I'm losing track, which is good. It's very good. When I started doing these videos, by the way, I was hoping you guys would like them, one, and then two, I was hoping I would like doing them. And it turns out I do. I still do. Um, and hopefully I'm not messing up the sound so much on this one. I really apologize for the audio problems with the last one. My man kept saying it sounds like gunshots, which it being hunting season at the time. That was kind of funny. Uh, yeah. So I hope you're all well. I am. It's we had a storm last night, so the stream is like really big but also muddy. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, that's the stream. Um, so it's running faster and kicking up the mud underneath, which is cool. Um, Feels good to be here. It always feels good to be here. Oh, also, you want to see some crazy mushrooms? This is really cool. These have all sprung up from that storm. Let's see. Can I show you? Not hard to figure this out there, but anyway, I think you can see that. Like crazy, hundreds of them. Well, at least hundreds, maybe thousands. I don't know. I don't need to be too accurate right now. Anyway, hey. So this week I was thinking, man, you guys know what's happening in America one, but in Seattle, um, there's they're calling it the CHAZ, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, and it's a bit like Occupy, but a little bit bigger. In France, there is this movement called the ZAD, the Zone à Défense, and what would happen is people would kind of start camping out in places that were going to get developed, uh, and just kind of turn them into autonomous zones. And but then the idea of the temporary autonomous zone comes from Hakim Bay, but they're doing it in Capitol Hill in Seattle, which is really cool because it's my old neighborhood. I cannot tell you how many times I slept on the street in the places where they've declared an autonomous zone. Um, I fell in love in that area. I've been drunk. I've been arrested in that area. It's like 6 square blocks or something like that. I've had public sex in that area. Like, just everything. But the crazy thing is, like, I've done a bunch of magic in that place. Um, and because I lived 5 or 6 blocks away from that area, and walk around and just kind of randomly do magic, talk to trees, sometimes do things for the trees, and then they would do things for me, all kinds of things. Not that I had anything to do with that happening. That's not what I mean, but more that that place was already kind of a magical place, a actively magic place, as it were. And so it's kind of no wonder that they kind of picked that place to you know, say, all right, fuck the police. We're taking this area over. That that actually, that process, the commons and more kind of everything else. Sorry, I'm feeling lazy, so I'll lay down. And when I'm laying down, I don't always look at the camera, so maybe I'll get back up. Ooh, nettle. Oh. Anyway, hi. I've always thought there's a, well, you probably do too, that there's like a connection between like politically charged places, politically powerful places, and magic. If you've been to Washington, D.C., you kind of know what I'm talking about. Weird there. And kind of start wondering why is there an obelisk and all of these other random architectures of magic from other places. What are they doing there? Well, to a magician or druid or witch or anything else like that, we kind of know what they're doing. Like, oh yeah, they're making that a magical place. Magic and political power kind of go together a whole lot. Sorry, I gotta itch my elbow. I know itching nettle stings doesn't make it better. I'm shaking the phone. Sorry. Anyway, but you know, if you go to any other like kind of capital, any other political center, you kind of tend to see that. But you also tend to see sort of, you know, it kind of magic in places that are also communities or sites of resistance. You know, if you look at like where people do tree sitting to protect trees from loggers, you know, those tend to be pretty sacred places. It's a, maybe you all know the stories in Ireland. I mean, these are great. You know, the Ireland and Iceland both have had the same problem, as it were, where you know, they'll do development in an area, which involves cutting down old massive trees that people say are fairy trees, or cutting through stones that are supposed to be sacred. It's more stones in Iceland than it is trees. But in both places you see the same thing, where some local will say, oh no, don't do that. That's gonna piss off the spirits there. And some developer will always say, oh, fuck it, you know, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then they do, and then you always read stories of bad luck that tends to be attributed to them. In Iceland particularly, it's weird. There's a documentary you can watch where, you know, you'll actually listen to prime ministers saying, yeah, former prime ministers, I'm sorry, saying, yeah, you know, we have to pay attention to where the elves are. So that tying of magic and politics. The reason why politics even gets involved is because it's politics that kind of determine what we do with places. Politics determines whether or not this place gets to survive, where I am right now, or if it gets developed, sold to people who want to build nice houses here. You know, there's barbed wire fence everywhere. I've gotten good at getting around barbed wire. Not always. In fact, whenever I tell myself, hey, you've got this barbed wire thing, I don't. And I always get stuck in it. But, you know, fences are political things. They, you know, they're there to keep people out and keep people in, you know, or keep cows out and keep cows in, or all of that. Those are, you know, that's politics. Anyway, where was it going with this? I don't remember. Oh, well, in the meantime, I can tell you there's all kinds of big fluffy pollen falling from, I think it's the beeches, but I'm not sure, the beech trees. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it. So it looks very much like in all of those films where you see like kind of fairy dust floating around in the forest. That's what's happening. Oh, anyway, yeah, I was gonna tell you more about so the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Um, yeah, it might not work. I mean, actually, it probably won't work. Eventually, the police are gonna sweep in. There's already plans by right-wing groups to send in biker gangs on July 4th to try to clear out the communist anarchist bloc people, to save Seattle from them. But the important part on autonomous zones and their temporary nature is that they teach us how to be autonomous. They give us moments of time and space where we can kind of remember what it's like not to be part of empire, not to be ruled by empire, not to have to serve empire. You know, and the idea of the temporary autonomous zone is also that you can, you know, create them, they exist, you can make them extremely personal, small, and then they move on. You continue kind of having these experiments of how to live autonomously, you know. And I've always liked that, like in Europe, anarchists tend to describe themselves more as autonomous than they do as anarchists. That they're, you know, that they rule themselves, or that it's local rule, that they're not listening to, they're not under the power of, you know, political centers, capitals, capital itself, states, governors, presidents, even local mayors, but more like that the area is governed autonomously, or people are governing themselves instead of letting other people govern them, and instead of waiting for other people to govern them. And yeah, it's probably weird to be thinking about that, or it might seem weird to be thinking about that, you know, in this place, but I'm sort of becoming the druid of this place. You know, definitely have the sense it sort of expects me to do that. But of course, you know, I have no right to this place. This isn't my place. But then, you know, the way you should look at it is, you know, a forest belongs to itself. Forests, whoops, sorry, more nettle. I keep getting stung. I think that's the initiation process for being the druid of this place. You have to just get stung by lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of nettle and hawthorn. Why am I sitting on hawthorn and a nettle? Felt good, or it felt like a good idea. I think it still is, probably. You know, like I said, hanged man, right? Distilling wisdom and initiation and all of that. But so forests exist for themselves, you know, and then sometimes humans take care of them, or get asked to take care of them, or just decide to. And it doesn't belong to anybody. Although, you know, officially, according to law and politics, this land is owned by someone. I don't know who. Great thing about the field that I'm in with this tree, I think, because this tree fell down, they stopped using it as cow pasturage, because you can't really get in through here very well. They're not harvesting any of the grass. You know, a lot of the grass gets turned into hay around here. They can't get a tractor through in here, so it's like, it's a temporary autonomous zone, actually, which makes me happy. But so, you know, it belongs to people because people have ownership of it, which is to say that they have the right to decide how it is being used and who is on it and how to profit from it, what to do with the trees that are in here. You know, if they want to cut them down, they can probably cut them down, I guess. And it's like that all over the capitalist world, where, you know, land is owned, and only the people with pieces of paper saying that they own it get to do anything with it. Such a shitty system. And not just a shitty system, but an unnatural, anti-natural system. Like, ask the owners of really trashed forests, especially in the United States, where I grew up in Appalachia. Like, most beautiful landscape I've ever been in, with lots of caves and beautiful valleys filled with trees that were full of trash. People would throw their old appliances, old cars, bags of like diapers and everything, you know. Like, ask the owners of that land, or I'm sorry, ask the land what they think of the owners, and how they're caring for that. Probably not so well. Probably don't have a good opinion. But, you know, forests are autonomous, land is autonomous. We can shape it. Management is not a good thing though. I want to talk about that some other time, the management, because I just read this really great essay that's going to be in the next issue of A Beautiful Resistance on the management ethic of capitalism, particularly the idea that, you know, through architecture, which is not just buildings but also organization, we can control and manage nature, lead it to make it do what we want. I'd love to talk about that sometime. Not this time though. Yeah, I don't really have any like big preachy conclusions or anything about this. I guess maybe you've already been a little preachy. But yeah, autonomous zones. Forests are autonomous zones. They are autonomous in themselves. And I hope you get to go in one sometime soon. It's really nice. And like I said, if you ever need that like little initiation thing with the hanged man, lay on a tree. They don't mind. No, they don't mind. All right, love you all. Thanks as always for all of your support, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.